Hello everyone, welcome to the When at Work podcast. You're with the host Julian Leahy. Today I'm joined by Sig Muller, Oreet Kaufman, and Brittany Hansen. Welcome to the show, guests.
Thanks, glad to be here.
Wonderful.
Good morning, thanks for having me.
We've got everyone across the US, East Coast, West Coast, and in the middle. Is that right? I think so. Let's not dwell on that. Let's bring up the board. Okay, the categories today are New York City. Oreet, you're kind of nearby there. You might be able to get these ones. Science, yards. Do you guys know what a yard is? Oh, you do? That's good. I have no idea.
Oh, I was going to say share. What's a yard mean?
I've got one. My dog hangs out in mine, but I'm not sure what the other meaning is. I think it's to do with a measurement of some sort. Islands, Roman Empire, and starts with a H. Sig, you are in the hot seat on the left. You can kick things off. What category would you like?
All right, boy. We're going to stay away from New York City, but we're going to start with science. So I need to give you a dollar amount?
So, yeah.
All right, 300.
300 in the middle. Good idea. Distilled from liquid air, this gas is used to produce a bright reddish light.
All right.
Distilled.
Neon.
Did you say something, Sig?
Neon.
Mia?
Neon.
Neon. Well done, Sig. I was so far off that I had no idea what you were saying, and then I realised it was correct. What would you like next?
Let's go to islands for 300.
Islands for 300. Massachusetts Island, whose county and county seat share its name.
Nantucket.
No need to swear, Sig. Let's have a look. Nantucket is correct. Well done. Sig, you're on fire. What would you like?
I am. Well, I recently watched a movie about the Roman Empire. So Gladiator, the second Gladiator. So
how was it, Sig?
I really enjoyed it.
Who was no Russell Crowe?
Pretty violent, but it's good.
Who was the star?
I honestly don't remember his name.
Right.
So
I heard it was good. It was a
Ridley Scott. Hopefully that's not a trivia question.
300?
Yes.
By the 4th century AD, Rome had 28 public ones stacked with rolls of papyrus.
What is a library?
Library, let's take a look. Fantastic. Well done, Brittany. You're in the middle. I'll click that button and that should work. There we go. What would you like, Brittany?
Let's go for something easy, like starts with H for 100.
Starts with H for 100. Good pancakes will not only sell like these, they are these.
What are hot cakes?
Brittany, you got in there first, but that's the correct approach. Sig is to just holler the answer, just in case everyone's being polite. If you know the answer, holler it. Brittany got in there first. You're on 400. What would you like next?
Are we actually supposed to buzz in or something?
No. Well, I had buzzers in the beginning, and so it was just a nightmare. It just wasn't working for some people, and we gave it away. So we just scream out really unprofessionally. Brittany, what would you like next?
Let's do science for 100.
Science for 100. Poor amoebas, they reproduce by doing this.
Well, I'll take a guess. Splitting in half.
Splitting in half is correct. Not as much fun as other animals, unfortunately. Sig.
Well, I said I was going to stay away from New York City, so I guess I'll do that. Let's go with science for 400.
Science for 400. To cure Parkinson's, scientists are now trying cell grafts into this part of the body.
How about the brain?
It's got to be, hasn't it? It's the old computer. Well done, Sig.
Unfortunately, my mom had Parkinson's for 18 years. So, yeah, super personal. But, it's glad they're working on a cure.
All right.
Let's try yards. We haven't done yards.
Yards for 300. Straight down the middle. In pubs, it's served in a big glass with a round bottom, so you have to down it without setting it down. It's something in the UK. And if you go to a pub and they welcome you and you're young and maybe you're in a sports team or something, they'll make you drink from this thing, and it's... And look at the category we're in.
All right, I'm going to go with pint, but I've also drinking out of a boot at a place like that. But we'll go with pint.
It's anybody else want to have a crack? Or a punt, however you say it. Look at the category. It's a yard of ale. It's a big yard-long glass. I don't know if they still do it because people were obviously getting stabbed in the face with it. Nobody got it. I think, was it Sig? Yeah, Sig, you're in control still. What would you like?
Let's go with Roman Empire for 200.
Roman Empire for 200. Built by the Romans in the 2nd century. One of these still brings water to Segovia, Spain.
What is an aqueduct?
Hello. Oreet is alright. Bit of a dad joke. Oreet, you're in control. What would you like?
Let's do New York City for 100.
New York City for 100. Don't worry, there are only 15 fires and 38 felonies a day along their 237 miles of track.
What is the subway?
Yes, I was going to say you can also get a sandwich there, but didn't need that clue. Well done, Brittany. That was a bit of a negative question on New York. Jeez. It's a bit... Anyway, what would you like, Brittany?
Let's do starts with H for 300.
Starts with H for 300. A covered two-wheeled carriage, whether it's good looking or not.
What is a handcart?
Handsome, it's called. That's what they're doing the joke on good looking.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that. It's almost your surname. Not that that would have helped you in any way.
No.
Brittany, you're still in control?
Let's do islands for 100.
Islands for 100. While Hawaii is our only island state, Tasmania is this country's only island state.
Oh, I'm terrible with geography.
Where's Tasmania? Have you seen the Looney Tunes Tasmanian Devil?
Yeah.
Do you know where that is? Where's the country that has all the weird animals and weird podcast hosts?
It's Australia.
Australia is correct.
Hey!
Well done, Sig. What would you like?
Let's go ahead and do science for 2.
Science for 200. Vegetable dye that turns red in acid solutions and blue in alkaline solutions. What do we call it? I mean, what's the name of it? I think... Now, look, this is Year 9 science. I seem to remember something starting with L. I don't think I even got a B in science, so maybe ignore that. Let's take a look. Litmus! Julian!
Oh.
Well done, Julian. All right. I'll stop blowing up my tyres. And who's in control?
Let's finish science for 500.
Science for 500. The British physician has been called... This British physician has been called the father of immunology. He'll probably get attacked these days. Who knows? This one's pretty obscure. I remember putting this one in thinking nobody's going to know that. It was Edward Jenner, not Bruce Jenner. Edward Jenner. Sig?
Let's go with islands for 200.
Islands for 200. By the year 1000, at least 25,000 Scandinavians had settled on this North Atlantic island.
Iceland.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. I was going to do a Bjork reference. Didn't need to. Well done, Sig. Oh, everyone's run off. Oh, they're there.
Oh.
They're back. They're back.
Let's go with starts with H for 200.
H starts with H for 200. Polygamous potentates place their pretty odalisquous in these secluded hideaways. What the hell is that? Polygamous potentates place their pretty odalisques in these secluded hideaways. It starts with a H.
Can't even hazard a guess.
So I'm not sure I understood half the question, but I'm going to guess hamsters because it's the only thing I can think of as an H.
Harems. Oh, that's polygamous. That was the only thing that because a harem is where some sort of dictator guy would have all these concubines, I think they're called. Sounds a bit dicey. I don't think that'd fly today. Sig, what would you like?
Let's go with Roman Empire for 100.
Roman Empire for 100. An entire Astrodome baseball crowd of 45,000 could be seated in this 4-story Roman arena.
What is the Colosseum?
Shame on you, Sig. You just watched Gladiator 2.
She was too quick.
Yes.
Was too quick.
Well done, Oreet. I like it. When you know, you just pull the trigger. You're a dark horse in this race. What would you like?
Let's do yards for 100.
Yards for 100. Any standard of judgment or comparison, even if it's not 36 inches long.
Measuring stick.
Yardstick.
Yardstick.
Yeah, you were kind of barking up the right tree there.
Yeah.
But they do say things like, have you ever heard that as a term? By most yardsticks, this is exceeding expectation.
Yep.
That was a bad example. Anyway, Sig, what would you like?
I don't know that it's my turn.
Oh, sorry. Oreet, I just got into a pattern there of giving it to Sig. Oreet, what would you like?
Oh, I didn't get it right, so I didn't know it was my turn.
You did get one right, and you're still, once you get it right, you're in control.
New York City for 200.
New York City for 200. In burlesque, it was the usual answer to the tourist question, how do I get to Carnegie Hall? I think burlesque is a play or a movie. It's also a type of saucy dancing, but I think they're talking about a play or a movie. Anyone seen that? Nah, me either. It would raise too many questions if I watched that one on Netflix. It is practice. Oh, how do I get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. Okay, so how do I become a burlesque dancer? That was very obscure. Oreet, what would you like?
Let's do yards for 200.
Yards for 200. The following song was the first and biggest hit for this British band. Okay, now this is a trick question, right? And there's supposed to be audio. I just got to quickly Google it. Right? Actually, let's skip this question. We have had a technical malfunction. Oh my God, I've done something terrible. I've lost the stream thing.
Oh!
All right, we're back.
I think, did we lose the host?
Yeah,
I'm
I think
here,
so.
Yeah.
I'm still here too.
You're still here? Okay, cool. Yeah,
Well,
I nearly lost everything.
I'm giant on
impossible.
my screen now.
Goodness
Yeah.
me. All right, let's ignore that. Let's
It
do
is
another one.
impossible
Oreet.
that the only two I knew were from the Roman Empire. Impossible.
I'm so impressed. It's like the opposite of the Instagram thing right now that men know everything about the Roman Empire. It's perfect.
I'm shocking myself.
Oh.
We're probably still being recorded, and he's just.
Can you hear me
That's
now?
okay.
Can you hear
I
me?
think
Have I lost you?
he's not there.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Oh,
I'm very impressed with the two of you. I've known very few of these answers.
Oh, me too.
All right,
A
what's
couple of
going
them I
on?
knew. I just didn't speak fast
All right.
enough when I
Hello,
thought
hello,
it, but
hello.
I'm kind of nervous to say it in case you're wrong.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you
Yeah,
hear
we're
me?
back.
Oh, okay, great. All right, we'll edit that out in post-production. No, we won't. It's live. Oreet, what would you like next?
Let's do a New York City 300.
New York City for 300. It's the only borough not connected to Manhattan by a bridge.
Ooh.
There are lots of
I know my
islands.
bir-
Which one's not connected to Manhattan by a bridge?
What is Staten Island?
Staten
Staten Island?
What's it connected to? It's not even connected to Manhattan, is it? Well done, Oreet. New York and Roman Empire. That's your jam. You're on
Alright, let's
600
see.
points. Brittany's on 500. Sig's on 1400. What would you like, Oreet?
Let's do New York for 400.
New York for 400. The oldest works of art in this newly remodeled museum on 53rd date only to the late 19th century. Newly renovated museum. Now, this is probably not newly renovated. What's a famous museum in New York? What was the one that George Costanza reckoned that...
Oh, isn't it the Guggenheim?
That's right. He goes, you know the Guggenheim? And they go, yeah. And he goes, yeah, just around the corner from that one. Not that one. Well, it's not that at all. It's a museum of modern art. I'm sorry. What would you like
Let's
to
go
read?
New York City for 500. Let's
New York
do
City,
it.
last one, 500. About 10 times a year. This is so old. I should have screened this one. About 10 times a year, Kodak, which doesn't exist anymore, I don't think, changes the 18 by 60 color transparency in the lobby of this New York City building. Anyone born in the 60s?
Yes.
Sig, I didn't want to throw you under the bus there. I was waiting for you to tell me.
Yes.
Do you know the answer to this?
Gosh. I mean, if you're gonna make me guess, I could guess, but
Have a guess, and if you get it, I'll give you the points.
Polaroid. I don't even know if that's a building, but
Grand Central Station,
Central. Okay.
Yeah.
the big train station. Oreet, you're still in control.
Islands for 400.
Islands for 400. It's the largest city on on Canada's Vancouver Island. It's the largest city on Canada's Vancouver Island.
What is Victoria?
Victoria, let's take a look. Well done. Also a state in Australia and a county in England. What would you like, Brittany?
Let's do Roman Empire for 500.
Ooh,
Roman Empire for 500.
that's gutsy.
Oh, no, we're not doing this one. All right, 400 we're going to do. When visiting one, a citizen might pass through the frigidarium, the tepidaria, and the calidarium.
Or this one is for you.
Frigidarium sounds like some sort of cool room, right? Tepidaria...
Sounds like warm.
Is it? Tepid, hot. Okay, right.
Is it a bathhouse?
That sounds good to me. It's some sort of like gymnasium type thing, and calidarium is probably like calisthenics. Let's take a look. Public bath is correct. Brittany, was that you?
Ooh.
It was.
Well done. That was 400 points. Brittany is surging with only 100 points behind Sig. Still enough on the board for Oreet to take out the biscuits. Brittany, what would you like?
Let's do starts with H for 400.
Starts with an H for 400. Only US president whose first and last names fit this category. The
Herbert
Herbert
Hoover.
Hoover.
Sig was out of the blocks fast. You got it. Herbert Hoover. Was he the inventor of the vacuum cleaner?
No.
Is there a brand of vacuum cleaners called Hoover?
There
Yes.
is.
He must have been behind the dam, though, not the vacuum cleaner.
The dam.
The dam,
Yes.
which is, I think that's that one that's in all the movies. Anyway, Sig, what would you like?
Yards for 400.
Yards for 400. These Vietnamese mountain people are called yards for short. This sounds like it could be a bit of a slur. I'm not sure. This is an old question. I hope they're not calling them yards because they're short. These Vietnamese mountain people are called yards for short. Who knows, Vietnamese mountain people? Let's take a look. It is Montagnards. Okay, so it's not a slur. It's a rhyming thing. Sig.
Well, let's finish yards for 500.
Yards for 500. How many yards are there in a mile?
1,760.
I tell you what, whoever gets the closest gets it. Brittany?
Oh golly. I thought it was something like 3,180, and that's wrong.
Okay, and Oreet?
Isn't Sig's number in feet? You divide that by 3, so wouldn't it be like 500 something?
Well, you know what? We don't even know what the heck you guys are measuring over there, so you don't ask me. Let's take a look. So you say 500 something. Brittany says 3,000 something, and Sig said 1,670 or around.
760. 1,760.
You got it. You got it exactly, Sig.
Yeah.
Well done. That was the old
I've swapped that
school
far. That's
system.
why I know it.
Yeah, they used to teach you things back then. Sig, what would you like?
Islands for 500.
Islands for 500. Italy became a single country when the kingdom named for this island annexed its various parts. The kingdom. So kingdoms have kings, right? Italy doesn't have a king. What was Italy's connected to Sicily? Not connected, but they're kind of like considered the same country. You've got okay. Any
What is
Roman
Corsica?
Catholics in the building, or former ones? I've got a certificate, but they'll probably take it off me if they knew what I was like. Who's the? Where's the base of that particular religion?
The Vatican.
That's my guess. I could be steering you the wrong way. No, sorry. Sardinia. God, another bum steer. Last question. Weapon used to fire projectiles into a high arc to reach targets hidden from view, starting with H. H. High arc. Oh, I know. What are those things when they put the rock in and it goes, whoo? What are those called?
I've always called those catapults.
Oh, yeah,
So,
that's a catapult.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm just grasping at straws. Let's take a look. It's a howitzer. I did not know that. I've heard of a howitzer. Well, there we go. Let's wrap things up. We have got Sig on 2,300, Brittany on 1,300, and Oreet on 600. Well played, guests. It got pretty close at certain stages, and you guys got lots of questions right, which is very good. They were hard questions. All right, let's pop over to Sig as the winner. Sig, tell us a bit about what you've been up to. And you're on a bit of a mission.
Yeah.
What is the story of Be the World's Best?
Right on. So 29 weeks ago this Friday, so 2 days from now, I died. I had a sudden cardiac arrest and was dead for 8 minutes. Odds of living, 8%. Odds of being mentally okay. This was a good test, less than 1%. Gives you some pause to think. Ask yourself, why am I here? What's my mission? And I've gone from purpose to passion. And so through my company, which I do keynote speaking, coaching, and consulting, I help people go from purpose to passion through inspiration, motivation, and empowerment to be the world's best version of themselves. Because I believe within each of us is the power, capacity, and talents to be the world's best version of ourselves. We just don't always do it. And there's a whole big backstory to that if we have time.
Yeah, go for it. We got time.
Oh, you bet. So the day I died, I was with friends from General Mills that I had met 30 years before. Good friends matter, people willing to do CPR. When I left General Mills, I went to work for a company called Survivalink that pioneered automated external defibrillators. This was the late 90s. So we were the first company to put defibrillators on airlines, in police cars, golf courses, and I helped lead business development and marketing for that company. 2 weeks before my cardiac arrest, someone put together a reunion of this company. I hadn't seen most of these people in 20 years, and we're high-fiving, chest bumping, celebrating, the hundreds of thousands of lives we've helped save because of this device. And 2 weeks later, that would be the device that saved my life. CPR from friends that were willing to do it, and that device. I was in the hospital for 7 days after that, and the first 2 days I had anterograde amnesia, which means you can't form new memories. I could remember everything from before my cardiac arrest, friends that I golfed that day. But if you came into the room, Julian, and you were my phlebotomist drawing my blood, which happened every hour for the first 2 days, I would ask you your name. Hi, what's your name? Julian. And I would say to you, Julian, you're the world's best. And you draw my blood, and you were really good at it. It would take one stab, boom, you'd have my blood. You'd come back an hour later. I wouldn't remember your name or that you'd been there. And I'd say again, hey, Julian, or hi, what's your name? You'd say Julian, and I'd say, you're the world's best. And no matter who came in the room, I told them, you're the world's best almost the entire time they were in the room.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you have any lingering effects from this?
Yeah, I'm still getting back to full strength in terms of exercising. I was playing pickleball 5 days a week and doing cardio fitness 3-4 times a week, strength training, and I'm still on a ramp to get there. But the good news is I should get there. So.
Wow. And did they put a stent in or anything like that?
They didn't, but right here I have a fancy thing called an implantable cardio defibrillator, which if it happens again will get me back into the right rhythm or restart my heart, knock on wood. Hope it never happens again.
And then, and how long, obviously you need to recover, and it would have taken a long time. And then about how long after this did you feel like you wanted to get into helping people with coaching?
Yeah, so it was over the course of the first 4 to 6 weeks. I asked myself, the question of why am I here, and why did I tell everyone you are the world's best? And I think it was 2 reasons I told people that. I was a Division I All-American swimmer. It was the first time in my life I couldn't take care of myself or do anything. I was laying in bed. The nurse had to come in and help me go to the bathroom. And so it was a way of saying I'm thankful. I'm my gratitude.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
You're awesome. The second reason I think was I knew I was really messed up in my head. I didn't know what was wrong or what bad had happened, but I knew everyone who came in that room, I needed to be the world's best version of themselves. I needed the world's best doctor. I needed the world's best nurse, world's best friends and family for me to be okay. So I became my own hype man, telling people you're the world's best so that, they would do the best for me. And, they did. It was fantastic.
Well, you must be pretty good to be around. Your wife makes a cake or something, and you're like, this is the world's best cake. I got to start doing that myself. And what types of people and how do you do your coaching? Do you travel around, or do you have clients that you speak to, or do you speak to groups? How does it all work?
Yeah. So my speaking, I'll do groups anywhere from 10 to thousands. I had a 30-year career in the corporate world. So my main audience are companies and the speaking, but then the coaching and workshops I do as well as a follow-on. So that can be one-to-one coaching with individuals over generally an 8 to 10 week time frame, because that's how long it takes to change habits and behaviors. And then workshops I typically will do in conjunction with a speaking engagement or sometimes just a workshop by itself with companies.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff because I always do. I go through periods of high productivity, and then I get frustrated and I get into a little rut. And they're the times when if you're plugged into some coaching, it's just so easy just to move past it. And if you don't, you'll be stuck for a longer period. So if you are one of these people like me, and you are, maybe you've got a business or whatever, and you sort of fluctuate. You go like a maniac, and then you just hit a wall constantly. It always keeps happening. Coaching is the one thing that I find is just evens everything out, and you also are speaking to people with experience, different experiences, different ways of looking at things, and they just unlock things in your mind of, oh, of course, what am I worried about? This is the way to deal with this. So, for the people listening, coaching is awesome, and if you're speaking and if you're listening and you're seeing Sig's story and you think, hey, I like this, then reach out to Sig. And let's just have a chat with him, and I'll put his details in the show notes, and get involved in Sig's world, and he'll speak to you. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Sig? Anything coming up?
I'm also writing a book, which has been a lot of fun. And the book's the same theme, right? We all have the capabilities within us to be the world's best version of ourselves, and what's the mindset and the tools, and how do we shift to have more days where we are the world's best version of ourselves. And I encourage everyone, we don't have enough positivity and gratitude in the world today. So I encourage people to just adopt that. And it costs you nothing to tell someone, thanks, good job, I appreciate you. For me, I say to people, you are the world's best. And it's got to be genuine. But everyone can do that every day. And it really makes a difference in your little slice of the world. So Be the World's Best, what you see on the screen, is actually also my website, betheworldsbest.com. And then I know you'll have the notes in the show notes. So thank you.
Yes, awesome. It is a great way to motivate people as well. If you've got a team of people and you are really showing gratitude for their work, something magic happens and everybody loves what they're doing. And a lot of people have worked this out. A lot of big companies have worked this out, but there still are a lot of companies trapped in the mindset of never showing appreciation for people working for you and stuff like that. And there's a different way to do it. So that's another aspect to it. Thank you very much, Sig Muller.
Yeah,
for
thank
coming
you.
on. All right,
What an incredible story, Sig. I just
It
want to say real
was,
quickly,
wasn't
what an
it?
incredible story of recovery and positive outlook, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. It's my new mission. So that's why I'm here.
Great.
It's a good one. A very good story. Brittany, let's pop over to you in the middle. And now don't feel like you need to top that, because that was a kind of life-changing situation that nobody else would ever be able to, top. Tell us a bit about your experience. You've been in tech as a woman.
I have.
How has that been, and what sort of things did you work on, and what are you doing now?
So, I jumped into tech after 13 years of being a stay-at-home mom. Stark contrast. And we jumped in an effort to fix what is broken with communication, both between companies and their consumers, and also just in general. I don't think anyone would argue that communication and trust is broken in the world today in a very real and horrific way. So we're really championing being able to share information in a meaningful way. And so we realized early on that everybody doesn't have access to the same information. Information is frequently in America only displayed in English. Occasionally it's displayed in English and Spanish. So we patented the ability to deliver information to you in whatever the home language of your phone is automatically, so that we could make the best information available to everyone.
Interesting. So is this a mobile app?
It's not an app, it's a platform right now.
Yeah.
And we work with companies to make the best information and then get it out there for people. We do marketing and technology.
And so it's what types of information is on there, and what types of people are the target for this product?
So there's really 3 different places that we go. We are in product, luxury products specifically, but what I'm most excited to talk about is the work that we're doing in public information. So right now we're just launching a a product with a company called Justice U, where we're working to educate healthcare workers so that they can spot and stop human trafficking. 90% of human trafficking victims are seen by a healthcare worker while they're being trafficked, but less than 1% of them are ever seen and reported. And so we have to empower these frontline workers to see what it looks like and then give them the information so that they can safely stop what's happening.
Interesting. Wow. And so are you providing this as like a consultancy service to frontline workers? How do you get this information out to these people?
That's a great question. So there is a consultancy piece, but actually how it's done is by short training videos on our platform in multiple languages, and then the ability to revisit that information at a moment's notice. Because when you just train someone, they forget 50 to 60% of what they learned almost immediately within the first 24 hours. So we provide the resources so that they can come back and revisit that information over and over again in those moments when it matters the most.
Interesting. So I'll have to have a little bit of an explore about that. And is there anything else that we can talk about? How is business like jiu-jitsu?
How is business like jiu-jitsu? That is a great question.
Which one of yours?
That's right. So I got involved in jiu-jitsu a few years ago because I like to do things that scare me. This year I'm competing at Worlds in Las Vegas. And business is like jiu-jitsu in that it's very strategic and it's less about force than it is about making something feel like it was inevitable that it happened. So many people watch jiu-jitsu and they think it's about strength. But one of my favorite sayings is if ruling things was about size, then the lion would be king of the jungle. It's not about size. It's not about strength. It's about knowing where you're going and working strategy to get there.
That's what I tell my wife. The jiu-jitsu, I love jiu-jitsu, and it was the thing that I just loved doing, and I did it when I was younger, and then I made a bit of a comeback, and then in between that I had got some really bad injuries playing rugby, and shoulder and all that sort of stuff, and I was getting back into jiu-jitsu, and I was just loving it, and then I was like, bang, just cut my shoulder, and then the coach is like, oh God, careful, and then I came back the next week, and then I did it again, and he goes, oh Julian, could you please stop coming? Like, he literally was so worried about getting sued, and I was like, yeah, I'll probably have to give it up this time. So that's my jiu-jitsu story. Yes, I'm probably not in the right sort of shape to do it anymore, unfortunately. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you're doing jiu-jitsu. It's a fantastic thing as well for women, because it was the one thing I've seen where women can absolutely beat the crap out of quite large men and make them scream for mercy, which must be fun for women.
It is. Jiu-jitsu is inherently fun. I think you know that too. It's probably why you came back to it for a while. It is so much fun. And it's very empowering. Great
self-defense as well. Well, that's awesome, Brittany. So I'll put that in there. And what types of people are your kind of ideal target type people?
I would love to talk to anybody who is interested in fixing communication with their consumers. My specialty is inside luxury products. So if you're there, please reach out to me. I'd love to speak to you. And the passion of our business is really in this preventing human trafficking. If that's something you're interested in, find me on LinkedIn and let's talk about it. That's
Brittany -A Hansen on LinkedIn. That is in the show notes. Thank you very much, Brittany Hansen.
Thank you.
I even give you an applause sound effect. There we go. You'll have to watch it on the replay. Oreet Kaufman, let's have a chat to you from Chicago. You're not related to Andy Kaufman, are you?
No.
There's probably lots of Kaufmans.
Yeah. There's a deli, actually. There's a restaurant, Kaufman's, near me. And every time we pass by, my kids and I, we always count down to passing it. And then we just all yell out, Kaufman!
Kaufman's! They should give you a discount. Excellent. Well, tell us a bit about what you've been up to. You spent some time in the corporate world, and then you got into training and development, and some of the things you help people with, deadline panic. You want to tell us about that?
Sure. So I recently left after 25 years in corporate in training and development, most recently in sales training. And I took what I love as part of that. And I didn't realize this even was an industry until about 2 years ago. But I'm a PowerPoint designer, a presentation designer. So this is something that crosses all industries, all roles, all
Yep.
types of communications.
And this is something.
I think-
Sorry to interrupt. I'm like, who am I like? Jimmy Fallon or something. But PowerPoint design. It's like you think if you don't present things, you would be thinking, why do I need a PowerPoint designer? But there is an absolute art to this, and if you know what you're doing, which I don't, but Oreet does, and you can create presentations where people are engaged, and about probably 90% of presentations people fall asleep, and if it's done well, it's incredible, and so it's a very good niche, and I see you have kind of, speaking of niches, niched down on that. How long did it take you to realize that actually focusing on presentation design was really a big problem out there?
Well, I think when PowerPoint came out in the 90s, I think, it's evolved so much since then, and you'd be surprised at how many presentations I see that still look like they're from the 90s. And you say to yourself, how could it still be this bad? How could people still be putting together presentations? And I think you make a good point. We've all been there where we have the eye roll, where my friend just told me that she went through a training course where it was literally just text, a full page of text on a white screen for 6 hours, and it was just unbearable.
I'm feeling
so
personally attacked, Oreet. I've got so many
Yeah.
presentations out in the wild that are black text on white background.
So I think I come at it from two angles. So your question was what made me interested in doing it. The last 6 years in sales training, all of my work has been in PowerPoint. And so I think during COVID, I had a chance to really spend some time improving my skill set and realize I'm really good at designing good-looking slides that really convey the messaging and what you want to say in a visual storytelling way when we were talking to our sellers. And with that line of thinking of how we speak to sellers, it had to be quick and concise. So combined with my impatience, I'm also really good at taking your content and cutting it down. So I've kind of made up this phrase of like word dieting, of really cutting out the clutter and really saying what's repetitive, what's redundant, what is saying the same thing. And ironically, that's repetitive of what I just said. But what really is unnecessary because when your slide is so cluttered, we know that everybody only pays attention for 3 to 5 seconds on a slide. So it's about what do you want your audience to remember in 4 seconds per slide. And that is a skill, and that's a balance to do.
Yes, and making it immediately understood, so that they're not like, what is this? It's like straight away you're hitting them with. You tell us about, other than the design of things, is there a kind of formula that you use to make engaging slides?
So I think it's about a balance. I don't have an exact formula. I know from a design standpoint, there's industry guidelines. I really just look at it and say, I think there's a value in white space. I think a lot of people undervalue white space. They think if it's too much white space, then it's empty. But really, it's needing to let the brain breathe. So when you overload a slide with information, with visuals, the brain can't process. And again, 3 to 5 seconds on each slide. I would say my formula of what I think about is, as we've been talking, the least amount of information on a slide you need to convey, especially if you're a speaker and you have a teleprompter on your big stage, let's say. Read from your speaker notes. Save everything from your speaker notes and really just have what you want your audience to remember on the slide. It could be 5 words. It could be 10, 15, 20 words. I think guidelines are like less than 10 words on a slide, and that's just realistically hard. But it's balancing that with the right imagery, not overloading, not too many layers. I think, again, the value in white space to make sure that your audience can breathe. My favorite rule is don't make your audience do math. So when you look at a lot of data and charts and tables, you want to say, what is the one thing you want your audience to walk away with? If you're saying 2/3 of the population, don't make me do math, just tell me 66%. Because in that 4 to 5 seconds, you've now required my brain to work half a second more to convert 2/3 to 66%. And you've now wasted that time on your core message. So drilling down to that little level, to that detailed level of understanding how audiences and humans process information. Visuals tell a much better story than words do. Yeah. So with the right emotions, if you think about like the TED slideshows, they just have 1 or 2 words. They just have big pictures. So it's picking that right imagery, making sure it evokes an emotion or a connection with your audience, because it's about how you want your audience to feel at the end of that presentation. It's not about the data you're presenting. It's how you tell that data and how you tell that story through imagery as well.
And you've got here number 3, clear messaging. And a lot of people don't really understand what that means. And it's usually those people that need to understand it the most. Do you want to tell us a bit about what you mean by clear messaging?
Yeah, it goes back to that word dieting. And there's a link on my website with kind of a PDF you can download with some tips. It's really, and it takes practice to be able to cut through that clutter. To say, if you were to walk into this totally off the street and not know the topic at all, and you show up at this presentation, would you have any idea in human speak, we used to call Saturday speak, what the topic is about? So I think, especially with corporations and corporate audiences, there's so much corporate jargon. There's so much, and I can walk the walk and talk the talk in that language also. But I think at some point we have to just say, let's just say what we're trying to say. Let's cut through a lot of that jargon and just say it simply. We're all humans. We all need to connect on this messaging. We all need to walk away with something here. So what's the simplest, easiest, professional way to say that? And it's just making sure your messaging is clear. And if you're not sure, just keep cutting it until you remove the message. And at the point where you're removing the message, now you've gone too far. But it's just challenging yourself to keep cutting and cutting. There's a great app my son uses called Elevate, and it has an example that has math and has English, and there's one part where it's called brevity, where it challenges you to a sentence, and you have to cut out the part that's extra. And that's just the basic level practicing of cutting out.
That is a lot of people use a lot of words, and that's a tough skill to do, because that requires real, like you say, like exercise. You've got to work on it, but that's why having a professional do it for you is going to be so much easier. What about like copy, sales copy and stuff on people's websites? Do you ever work on that, or do you just stay with the the presentations?
Yeah, I don't do, I'm not a graphic designer, so I specialize in just PowerPoint presentation. So even specifically to the exception, I don't do Google Slides or Keynotes. It's really just PowerPoint. And that way I'm able to specialize and really understand the tool inside and out. And it's the most universal tool on every computer, and everybody understands it. It doesn't require a learning curve. It's the most adaptable. So just specifically PowerPoint designing.
And if you are a Google Slides user, then you can get Oreet to do your slides, and you can just upload them into Google, and they'll still work. Sure. Correct? Is that correct? Or am I just talking?
I don't have experience with that, so
I do. It definitely.
I don't. Okay.
Yeah, it still works. Yeah, because I use.
There's an adaptability. Yeah.
Yeah.
You might have to adjust it a little bit because they're two different platforms.
Yeah. So, but anyway, the key point is making your presentations so that they work in delivering the message to the people. Otherwise, what are you doing if it's not delivering the message that you want? You've got to make sure it's clear. You've got to make sure it's like what Oreet said, word dieting. it's got visual impact, and these are all things that you will not be able to do unless you spend. How long have you been doing it, Oreet?
I've been doing it full time, almost a little over a year and a half.
Yeah, and it's a
so a lot of times,
repeated
a lot of times
practice.
a lot of times companies will hire me, to your point earlier, that they might have somebody in-house that does it, but they just need that person to work on other things. So, we've got Janet in our office who does it, but I need Janet to focus on this monthly report, and doesn't have time. A lot of times people either don't have the skill or they up against a deadline, and they're like, we just need to get this done. So
the in-house people tend to just not really produce good stuff, I find, and you need to, because you're accountable by whether it works or not, whether it's good, whereas sometimes in companies they've just got somebody, she does the presentations or he does it, and but there's more to it. You've got it to make it impactful, which is night and day. Then you need to have a professional. That's my opinion. That's Oreet for you, and the link's in the show notes. If you've got a presentation coming up and you really want to make it a winner, which you should be doing, then have a chat to Oreet and get your next presentation, so that people are just sitting on the edge of their seats and they're interested and they understand it, and they're not just like, oh my God, this is horrific.
Yeah. Stop the eye roll.
Yeah, we've all been there. Well, thank you very much to the wonderful Oreet Kaufman, Brittany Hansen,
thank you,
and Sig Muller. Thank you, guests. That was wonderful and very entertaining and informative.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Julian.
Thanks, everyone. I'm going to wrap things up now.